Hello, my name is Martyr, and this is Let's Play Space Engineers. You may have seen this game creeping its way up the top 100 games being played on Steam recently. Space Engineers is a multi-genre game. It's kind of Minecrafty, and I say that with the most positive way I can, because I don't want to piss anybody off. Essentially, it's kind of a space action simulator with creation tools. Kind of like a voxel game. But, you know, voxel people are kind of anal about what you call a voxel game too, so I apologize, but it's a creation game, essentially. The game became available, released October 2013 for early access. Space Engineers is published and developed by Keen Software House and is now available for purchase for $14.99. Now, like I said earlier, it's an early access title, so before we say anything, before we do anything, remember that Space Engineers is an alpha. And everything you see is subject to change, and is not a final representation of the game. That being said, Space Engineers is pretty freaking sweet. I've been playing the game for a couple of hours now, and for a creation game, I've already managed to actually make something, which makes me kind of happy. Because God knows I've played some other creation games where I've been playing them, and I've gotten about 6 hours into them, and I've not managed to create something. That could be just because I'm an idiot, though, or not very good at creation games in general, but we're going to get into the game here. I'm going to show you some of the other features off, kind of like other games you've seen. There's different modes you can start off the game. There's custom world, and it kind of gives you different ways you can play the game. Online, friends mode, with public, you get the idea. And not only that, there's different kinds of scenarios like other games. There's a survival mode, there's kind of a creation mode, and that's kind of represented by what you're seeing right here through these little things right here. Easy Start 1, Easy Start 2 kind of starts you off with different, I guess you could say, objects, different tools you automatically start off with. Because the game's in development, they haven't finished survival mode completely. It's still there for you to play with if you want, or you could start the game off completely empty and just start building stuff, whatever you may like. I've been playing the game for about 2 hours, like I said, so I actually have my own save file. There's also multiplayer in the game, just to let you know. But that's basically kind of essentially kind of what you do when you click on New World. Workshop is by far one of the most neatest things in this game, so I'm actually going to save that for last. And well, actually, I'll kind of explain it to you more than show it to you. But I'm going to go ahead and load up my own game right here. So you're probably asking, what the hell is Space Engineers? Space Engineers is a creation tool, guys. At least for now it is. Because it's an alpha, there's a lot of features that are still being worked on. So, and you know, this may be a game we actually may revisit in the future. But there's a lot of things in this game that you can do that are pretty freaking amazing. So let's start off by talking about the controls. The controls, let's just say they are, well, pretty vast. Let's see if I can actually get to a place where you can see the controls. Here we go. Under help. These are the controls. As you can see, they're pretty vast. Once you get a good grasp on how they work, they're kind of simplistic. But there's just a lot of different buttons that do a lot of different things depending on what you're doing at the time, either flying or building or what have you. So there we're going to get to this in a minute, guys. That's a big ship over there. So the controls are pretty simplistic. You kind of float around in space somewhat in a realistic fashion. If you look at the bottom right of the screen, you'll see this thing that says gravity on it. And when you start the game, usually, depending on what mode you start in, actually, you kind of usually have this platform here, and that actually kind of builds an artificial gravity for you. There's also an artificial gravity generator right here, which is what I think that is. And that basically allows you to kind of just walk around and have kind of somewhat of a realistic gravity. Now, if I were to fly away with that, activate my jetpack here by pressing X and start flying away, well, gravity would cease, and I would just simply float there, kind of helplessly. Without my jetpack, you can't really do anything, and you're kind of just going to float there forever, and well, I guess you could say it's probably game over at that point. But yeah, so there's kind of that very neat aspect of space. Now, if you're wondering what happens if I turn on the gravity when, you know, that happens, that's kind of what happens. You just start falling rapidly, and well, you have to get back to where you were with your jetpack. There is, in the survival mode, I do believe, kind of a way to, well, die. So you can actually run out of like jetpack fuel, so you need to be careful depending on what mode of the game you're in. In creation mode, we don't have to worry as much about that. But anyways, let me get to the point, is that the graphics are kind of amazing. It's a voxel game, but it doesn't even look like it's a voxel game. It looks really sharp, looks really smooth, and some of the ships you can create are almost very dazzling. Musically, the game is alright. It's not the most impressive music I've ever heard, but that's not really the strong suit of this game. This right here is the strong suit of the game. This is the martyr jet, the martyr mobile. This is the ship I actually managed to create within about, I don't know, actually took me about a half hour to create this ship, which all in all isn't bad, and it is actually flyable, which makes me very, very happy. And flying the ship kind of works as you would expect in real kind of space environment. You have to have an engine kind of pointing in every direction, because if you don't, well, you're essentially going to go only in certain directions. Oh, don't want to crash, don't want to crash. Alright, so yeah, this is kind of the martyr jet. What I love about this game is you can make a lot of really neat looking ship, guys. How do you do that? Well, it's by manipulating the UI here. Let's see if I can land this here without crashing horribly. Come on, martyr jet. Come on, martyr jet. You can land. You can land, baby. You're not gonna crash. All right. Not the world's easiest landing, but she landed. That's all that matters. So how do you build stuff? Basically, you can kind of enter this menu, and this is where you kind of have access to everything. In survival mode, you will probably have to build each and every one of these pieces, but as far as creation goes, they give you unlimited supplies, of course. So you have your blocks and your different kinds of blocks, and to be honest with you, I hope I don't get flack for this, and I apologize, but and I would say this again in a negative way, the game almost reminds me of, in Kingdom Hearts, you could build gummy ships. And that's kind of what this reminds me of in the way that you kind of build things. I'm going to try to show you. When you basically go to construct something, you're like, okay, well, you're going to have to go through this menu. You're going to have to click either small ship, large ship, or new station. And that kind of manipulates the size of what it is that you're constructing. So if you're going to say, I want to build a large ship, you click on large ship, and it basically puts a huge-ass block down. And then you start building kind of from that base block outwards. So let me see if I can show you that here. There we go. Come on, come on, come on, come on. There we go. And you start building outwards and outwards and outwards from the base block and start constructing your ship. Let's see here. Let's start flying here and start building upwards. There we go. And as you can imagine, you start adding things to it. Like, okay, well, I want to add like this kind of a like a weird block there, and then we're gonna go ahead and slap. Let's slap a freaking engine on it. Yeah, but we're gonna want the engine to point like this way, or yeah, let's go this way. And you get the idea. The game is very complicated. You basically need to build a cockpit, a gravity generator, a gyroscope so you can turn up in different directions. It's very complicated as far as a creator goes, but you get the basic idea. As far as how you make big ships, that's how you make big ships. You can make stations, which is kind of what we're looking at down here, which is what we're essentially standing on. It's kind of a... Whoops. The game auto-saves, by the way. The game kind of... the station basically kind of just stays there in a stationary position and doesn't really move. You can't really attach engines to it, and it doesn't really go anywhere. And then, of course, you can make a small ship, which places a tiny block, and then you can build off of that and start making a tiny ship, which is how you essentially get, let's say, like those things over there, which is kind of the pre-generated fighters for you, or the martyr mobile over here, which looks like balls compared to those really nice ones over there, by the way. One thing, like a lot of cool things about this game, though, is you can have weapons in your game as well, which adds that entire almost kind of space action thing to the entire game. Let me get my... Come on, more. Oh no, don't you float away, martyr. That's the thing. The game reacts realistically with space. If you bump into an object and it is not, let's say, well, of being affected by gravity, it will flow. Oh, good lord. Oh, okay. We just lost something on the front of my ship. I don't know what that was. Hopefully, it wasn't anything important, though. That was a gun. We lost 2 of our guns. Oh man. Okay, I can put those back on. But yes, there's guns in the game, which I think is really cool and neat. And you can fire them and start kind of wailing on stuff and blowing stuff apart here. Let's see if I can get close enough so you can kind of see how much damage I'm doing to that thing. You get the idea. You can kind of fire on stuff. It's pretty neat as far as the space action game goes. Let's see. There's Oh, hold on. Actually, I probably have to land for this. Actually, I'll just go ahead and do that. There's, let's see, there's missile turrets, machine guns. Well, I think these are different missile turrets. I think these are for ships themselves, though, bigger ships themselves. But yeah, there's missile turrets and machine guns currently in the game, with possibly more being added on later. Who the hell knows? But yeah, you can make these also massive looking vessels here, guys, which I'm going to see if I can get my happy ass into. I don't see the entrance. Where is the entrance to this ship? I guess I'll just float through here. That's probably... Oh, okay. Okay, yes. In you go. In you go. There we go. Alright, so now we're inside the vessel here. Let's get out of creation mode here. Let's hit 0 so that my hands are empty. You don't see a giant floating block. And yeah, guys, this is kind of... Look at that size of that gravity generator is what I think that is. Or either that's a generator also. It could be a generator. The game also, yeah, of course, you have to have kind of like a power management thing. You have to make sure your ship is properly powered. Are we moving? Oh, okay, there we go. I just wiped out the Martyr Mobile there. I'm so sorry, Martyr Mobile. Let's see, where is that other ship? And right now, the game, most people use the game to kind of either build really cool looking ships. Let me see something here. Can I look around? There's a button to look around freely. There we go, that's where it is. And there's the other ship. Okay, so we're going to want to turn our asses in that direction if at all possible. But yeah, basically, the people use the game right now, guys, to kind of start, well, ramming their ship into things. Don't rotate anymore. Just as you can imagine, the heavier the ship, the more it's going to move slowly. But because it's space, you're kind of building up speed as you go. I'm gonna try to float upwards here and ram into that ship as fast as I humanly can. Ugh. And you can really feel the power of the ships as you're moving them, which is really awesome. You can kind of feel the weight of it as you're moving the ships, and you can make a lot of different kind of neat ship, guys. The controls, while they can be kind of interesting to learn, there's plenty of... Yeah, baby, rammed your ass. There we go. We ran the enemy ship. Well, not the enemy ship, but just the ship. The controls can be kind of interesting to learn, but there's plenty of tutorials out there for you to learn how to manipulate the controls, and I highly suggest you check those out as soon as possible. Like I said, I watched the tutorial and I made a ship within about, like I said, about a half hour, at least a small fighter. I haven't attempted to make a big ship, but I don't imagine it'd be very much any different. I could be wrong, though. There's been pretty sweet-ass looking ships out there. But the game is, of course, still in development. There's multiplayer, guys. You can play with those ships. You can play with other players to help them, have them help you make ships. Or maybe you can have them, you can build your own ships and go into combat against each other. What have you. There goes the autosave again. There's that entire aspect to that. And their multiplayer, I think, was a feature they just added recently also. So that's kind of neat right there. There's a workshop where you can actually take whatever it is you made and actually kind of share it with people for people to download, and they can kind of instantly load up your ship, whatever your creation, into their world. And there's more features to come as far as this entire game goes, guys. So like I said, Space Engineers is pretty dope as far as features go. In survival mode, there's different aspects. There's welding, there's drilling, which you'll use to get different supplies. Let's see if I can show you a quick example here of the... Let's see, I'll fly to that asteroid over there. And getting around the game is pretty quick. It's not like it's that hard. Actually, I'll go back to the base asteroid there. That works for me. No! Nope. No! Nope. Nope. Fly. Downwards. Oh my god. No. 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 You switch to first person view. You can also play the game in first person view, which makes it a little easier to build things. We're going to ram into that asteroid. It's not like I'm going to die or anything. Alright. So I don't need this anymore, so let's take this off the toolbar. Okay. We'll take a, what is that? That's a hand drill. That works for me. That works. You basically equip your hand drill, you fly over to stuff. And as you can see, you can start mining into the side of asteroids, digging deeper, and collecting different kinds of metals and pieces of things. There's different asteroids that have different elements on them, like gold or iron or what have you. There's all sorts of different kind of elements out there. And this is just one aspect of how you will start creation in the game. Kind of start building the game, start that entire, I guess you could say, survival aspect of the game, and start using different tools or building different tools to get things done. And I find that really neat as far as that goes. Am I upside down? Yes, I am. I'm totally upside down. Oh, that's not at all nauseating. Oh, okay, come on. So yeah, there's basically different kinds of ship parts. You can make different kinds of rooms. There's let's say a medical room, assembler. There's different kinds of things you can create, lights, and a lot of things that are being added to this game, guys. It's an ambitious project, to say the least, guys. So yeah, that's essentially kind of the game currently. Like I said, the workshop is a really, really neat option, guys. I don't know if this is going to show because of the recorder. I hope it does, because I think this is just one of the really neat aspects of the game. I hope you're seeing this right now. But basically, you can download these different kinds of ships and look at all Star Wars fighters, a Star Dragon, a Battlestar Prometheus, which I think is from Battlestar Galactica, if I had to guess. And you can literally build any kind of ship and have it there. You can realize your imagination, and that's what I love about these type of games, guys. It's your imagination realized, and in this case, it's space. So in that regard, it's really, really awesome the things you can create. And Space Engineers has a long way to go as far as development goes. It is very interesting, though, to see what it is they've managed to accomplish. Making a voxel react properly in a weightless environment seems very impressive to me. Then again, I'm not a coder or a game designer, so what do I know? Just like all creation games, though, you're going to get out of it what you put into it. The more time you put into it, the more you're going to get out of the game. The tools The tools are there to make your own personal Death Star or your X-Wing or Enterprise or whatever have you. I actually looked at the workshop. Someone had made the SDF-1 from Macross, which big props to whoever made those. You guys rock. I can't wait to see Space Engineers finish, and this might be a game that we will probably visit again. I'm sure many fans feel the same way. They can't wait for the game to be finished, though. It has a lot of promise, and if you browse through the workshop, your mind will be blown. I promise you. You'll see the Serenity, the Enterprise. A lot of cool stuff is on there, guys, which makes it really awesome alone just for the workshop. Multiplayer. The game is still under development, of course. A lot of things to come for this game. Keep your eyes on this game. Big thanks to the developers, Keen Software, for a chance to give a quick first impression type video. Remember to like, subscribe, and share for future IndieView videos. Thanks for watching. This has been Let's Play Space Engineers.